Well, we've been following a number of races around the nation as we march toward the midterm elections. One of those races happens to be right here in Tennessee, the 9th Congressional District race. The National Republican Congressional Committee naming this as one of their targets for the midterm elections. They see this as a pickup for the Republicans in the House of Representatives. There is a very, very competitive primary going on the Republican side of the aisle. One of the candidates joining us in studio this afternoon, his name is Jeremy Thompson, and he is running for Congress in the 9th Congressional District. Jeremy, good to see you today. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you, Todd. We appreciate you having us on.
So, first of all, your reaction to the news that came out, Politico reporting yesterday, the NRCC coming out and saying this is a big race for the fate of the party nationwide. What say you to that?
Absolutely. We knew immediately when Tennessee called emergency session and put this on the plate for redistricting that this would be a national level event, not just because of what's being said and created here in Memphis, but just to retain conservative Republican vision and control in the House and the United States Senate.
When you look at the lay of the land here, and this is a newly drawn district, it is a very long district. You guys are putting a lot of miles on the vehicles. I want to talk about the makeup of the district and what you've discovered out there. But first, I'm really intrigued by your story because you have an amazing background. You and your wife own a restaurant there in, is it the middle part of Tennessee? What part of Tennessee do you guys live in?
Dead center south of Nashville, Lincoln County, Fayetteville.
Wow.
Tennessee.
Okay. All right. So give us a bit of your story.
Yeah. So my story starts with a call to serving other people. From the time I was young and trying to figure out what I was going to do post high school graduation, I was led to serve other people. So I went into public safety and service as a volunteer firefighter. Then I went to school to be an emergency medical technician. I was highly interested in law enforcement and what that may look like as a long-term career. And then in addition to getting qualified in all three of those fields, I had a friend come to me one day and say, you should join the Army National Guard and go be a soldier. And I love this country. I love it enough to die for it. I love people enough to die for them. That's just the way I've been built, and that's the way I was raised. And I wake up every morning trying to make today better than yesterday. And I have never responded to an emergency or conflict abroad with the Republican, Democrat, Independent thought on my mind. When you wake up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody needs help, you respond, you do the best you can, regardless of what someone's political affiliation may be.
What would you say is the top issue facing the 9th Congressional District in Tennessee?
I think the top issue facing the 9th Congressional District is the fact that the emergency was created. It's a national level event being watched by the DC politicians to expand conservative Republican views and ideology. I think we have to protect everything we know as a nation because we're being ideologically infiltrated by communist, socialist, Marxist ideology, and now we have this very rapid expansion of Sharia and Islam, which I think is wholly incompatible.
So I think, and again, I think it's a two-pronged thing. First of all, I think the jihadists are using socialism as the Trojan horse to get into America. And I think the socialists are going to wake up one day, if they're successful, they're going to think they're in control, and they're going to find out the jihadists are taking charge. I mean, we've seen this play out in so many other countries around the world, and we're watching it happen in real time here in America. I know that one of the big issues in Tennessee has been the voucher system. And, it's a challenge if you're going to give, because quite frankly, if you're going to give parents money to send their kids to a Christian school or a Jewish school, you're going to have to let the Muslim parents do the same thing and send them to the Muslim schools. My question is, what the hell are they teaching in those schools?
I think we know. I don't think there's a question there. I think we are all very well aware of what's being taught in that radical religious ideology, and that if at some point they can gain enough speed and power within the United States, they would absolutely overthrow everything we love and know about it.
Now funded by our tax dollars. I think that's the rub for a lot of folks.
It is, and obviously I think we all believe in school choice and free markets and the freedom to do what we need to do or want to do in the United States of America. But with great freedom comes great responsibility. And when we start putting tax money toward government-funded programs, we have to have some level of oversight and accountability.
I think about those schools, like, for example, Hillsdale or West Coast Baptist College, very successful Christian schools. They don't take a single penny of tax money. And it just seems to me that's the right way to go here. Because once you're taking that government money, you're beholden to the government.
Well, it's a growing fascination, I think, with a lot of people who don't know what we know, or maybe they didn't grow up how we grew up. But if you're out there and you think you're victimized by government, I would say that you need less government. You don't need more of it. I'm certainly a fan of less government.
The Democrats have made this a national race as well. Over the weekend, you had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Summer Lee, Ayanna Pressley coming in doing a huge rally for Justin Pearson, who is more than likely going to be the Democrat nominee. The guy is a radical leftist. They were in a church here in Memphis, over 1,000 people in attendance, and the pastor said that the Bible promotes socialism and that Jesus was a socialist. I mean, if you win the Republican nomination, this could very well be your guy that you have to go up against. How do you combat that? Jesus was a socialist.
Well, I think people have to be way smarter than the circumstances being surrounded by them. They will continue to push these narratives and twist and shape anything they can to try to introduce this Marxist, socialist, communist ideology that we've seen infiltrating everything we know for the last 50 or 60 years. I think we should take some ownership in that, in the conservative base, that we didn't get out in front of it quick enough. But if you want to know if socialism or communism, Marxism works around the world, all you have to do is read a little bit of a history book and understand that's not the direction we want to go as the United States of America.
It's sort of shocking that even here in Memphis, I mean, it's one thing if it's in New York City or in Berkeley or San Francisco, but it's happening in Memphis, Tennessee. We're watching the rise of these radical progressives, and also in Nashville as well.
Right. It's all over the state. We talk about this often, and it's usually your higher population, Democrat-controlled areas that are pushing this ideological infiltration on the people. The problem I think we have is that Republican conservatives generally have this foundational position of just being good to people. And I know that's been shaped in a different narrative for a lot of people in the inner city. But if you, like I said, if you're out there and you think you're victimized by your circumstances or what's going on around you, I would just say take a pause for a minute and look at what you're governed by. Who are your elected leadership? How are your police departments being run? Is there personal accountability anymore? That's the big thing here. I don't think anybody's taking any personal responsibility or accountability. And then we look to our neighbors, to our left and right, our family members. We don't hold them accountable anymore. We don't hold government officials accountable. Things are getting a lot more reckless throughout government, and that's been my story as a candidate. If you want someone to go to Washington, D.C. and put real-time thought and resolution on the issues and hold the left, right, and center accountable, I'm that person. That's why I did this. That's why I'm running for United States Congress.
JeremyThompson.com is his website, JeremyThompson.com, and you can also follow him on all the social media. You got the X, Instagram, Facebook. Doing TikTok by any chance? It's
probably going on a small scale. I don't do it personally.
I can't figure that out to save my life. I tell you, the social media stuff drives me bonkers sometimes.
Yeah, the kids are good at it, I guess. But I was in the intelligence community for the Army for 22 years, and it was explicitly told to us not to get involved in TikTok.
I can understand. Yeah, I can understand why. Our telephone number 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. I'm wondering what you're hearing from your constituents out there. I mean, it is a massively long, newly redrawn district. What are you hearing from folks? What's on the minds of the voters?
This is a mostly rural district with a lot of agriculture and farmland, and you have the southern part of Memphis, which is heavily populated. Then you have the northern part of Williamson County, Brentwood, Franklin, Spring Hill, Nolensville, that are highly populated areas. And what I'm hearing is that people want some kind of balance to be drawn between what we're seeing in the news and what's really going on in government. Who's going to go to the United States Congress on their behalf and be their voice and be the strongest person in Congress to bring resolution to the issues. Now, I'll tell you, over 22 years of military experience, I've learned one thing is that one person doesn't have all the answers, but a very ambitious, motivated, and organized person knows how to be process-oriented, knows how to build coalitions and teams, and knows how to go to work on day one and start getting the job done.
Have you been surprised by the vitriol in this campaign? Because some of your opponents are on the Republican primary is just downright ugly.
I had anticipated that. I think I talked to my wife Lindsay about that when we first entered, and we said if stones don't get thrown at us by our own party, stones will certainly start getting thrown at us by the Democrat Party if we should win this primary. But that's something that we've embraced. I think good people have to stop sitting in the shadows and watch all this unfold. But we said at the beginning, and I had this conversation with Todd, I had it with Brent, and I had it with Charlotte. I'm not going to get involved in the ugliness. If we can't win this on merit and qualification and the people's desire to put us in this office, we don't want it to begin with. But our vision is to take the strongest, principled, positioned voice to the United States Congress and start making immediate change. We cannot continue to be hung up on the things that affect less than 1% of this country.
Well, Justin Pearson has already started slinging mud, and I think he believes that State Senator Brent Taylor is going to be the person he's running against, and he's called Taylor a racist, a white supremacist, but he actually said that about everybody in the state house. And I have to assume if you get the nomination, he's going to be calling you a racist and a white supremacist as well. How do you deal with those kinds of the slurs?
I think, number one, we all, regardless of our political affiliation, have the responsibility to be good to one another. And I actually had the opportunity to have this conversation with Justin Pearson at the Hamilton restaurant in Washington, D.C. We were both there to talk to our political consultants and potentially meet with the Southeastern Political Affairs team at the White House on trajectory and campaign health and things like that. The only thing I knew about Justin Pearson is what I had seen about him on TV, and he did not know anything about Jeremy Thompson. He had never known me, or knew that I was even on the ticket, but I introduced myself and told him that I was going to be a candidate for the 9th District. And his response to me was, "I hope you beat the hell out of Brent Taylor." And I said, "Well, I'm going to, but I'm going to beat the hell out of you too."
What did he say to that? Did he?
We both laughed just a little bit about that, and we talked about maybe communicating and connecting to see what issues we could align on and which ones that we were vehemently disagreeing on. And I found him to be in that moment approachable, but then I also told him that if we're going to represent people, we have a responsibility to behave.
I mean, he called a state trooper to his face a mother effing boy.
That's right. Well,
and didn't apologize, doubled down on that.
That's right. And I told him, I said, I don't know what your raising was. I don't know what your childhood was. I know what mine was.
His parents were preachers.
Well, when I misbehaved like that and I showed blatant disrespect or any kind of intolerant behavior, I got my butt busted, and I got it busted good. And he shared that he got the same. And I told him, if my mom had seen me act like he's acted in the Tennessee State Legislature, I would have been whipped across our farm.
What did he say to that?
He broke contact and went to a booth with his political consultant.
I see. Well, it's just disgusting in my estimation. The only other disgusting thing I've seen so far is what happened to that Memphis pizza joint, Tamboli's, where the 4 National Guard troops were told they were not welcome to eat there. This is happening in Memphis, and I have to get your reaction as a military veteran to what happened to those young people.
Yeah, I was a 22-year National Guardsman, and what I would like to tell people who are listening is that the National Guard is made up of men and women of all cultures, colors, and backgrounds. They are good men and women who are out here to enhance and help the community. If a reduction by 50% in your crime rate and criminal activity is not reflective of the goodness of their presence, I don't know what is. But again, I'm going to default back to we all have a responsibility to be good to each other, and you cannot continue to view the Tennessee National Guard, the federal law enforcement troops or federal law enforcement officials and local police officials that are here trying to make a positive difference in your life. You can't treat them like dirt and expect a positive result.
I mean, I guess, again, it's not against the law. I mean, you can deny service, if you want to. I think it's a pretty darn bad business model, but, it is what it is.
Well, I think that's where we have a responsibility as society to hold those kind of things accountable. We used to do that through boycotts and things like that. And I would call for a boycott or an apology.
You're going to beat the hell out of Brent Taylor. It sounds like you don't like the guy very much.
It's not that I don't like Brent. I didn't even know Brent. Brent didn't know me. I know Brent's been running for political office for over 30 years now, and I'm done with career politicians. And we cannot do politics as usual in the 9th Congressional District of Tennessee and expect different and positive results. I'm not a coattail. I'm not a line tower. I'm a free thinker. I'm a free man, and I believe in less government, liberty, and accountability.
All right, Jeremy Thompson, we got to leave it there. My apologies. JeremyThompson.com. That's JeremyThompson.com. I appreciate you dropping by today.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having us.
Got to take a break. We'll be right back. All right. Did a little bit of gossiping during the break with Jeremy Thompson. Asked him to stick around. It is National Junk Food Day. And you're like very physically fit. So I hesitate to ask this. Please tell me your favorite junk food is like not carrots or celery.
No. I'll break open a bag of chips, cheddar and sour cream chips, or if I eat chocolate, it's probably going to be a Kit Kat.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well, since you're in Memphis, you got to go by Dinchtel's Chocolates, one of the finest and one of the oldest chocolate shops in America.
Okay.
Great chocolate. You got to get the cashew crunch though. It's like eating crack. You just can't stop. So
I appreciate that you sharing that.
I'm a junk food. Yeah, I'm a big Brim's. I love pork rinds. So Brim's Snack Foods, which is based here in Memphis. They have their products in grocery stores all over America. So all that to say, West Tennessee's got some great businesses out here in this part of the country.
Yeah, we tried pork rinds in our restaurant. We're going to maybe put that on an appetizer part of our menu. And we ordered from one company, and they tasted like leather, literally. Oh. And we ordered from a local company and got those in, and they were fantastic.
Oh, you got to share the name of the restaurant real quick.
Oh, the Revolutionary Tavern in Fayetteville, Tennessee. It's been up and running since September the 25th of last year, doing very well, and it's all Revolutionary War themed, and it's based on the history and members of our community.
Do you have a favorite? What's the most popular menu item?
The most popular menu item we have is the fried deviled eggs.
Fried deviled eggs.
Yes.
All right, we're going to have to talk more about this off air. I am partial to the Freedom Rings, though, so
yes.
Those look mighty tasty. All right, Jeremy Thompson, running for Congress, businessman, military veteran. JeremyThompson.com is his website address. Go and check that out, JeremyThompson.com. Hang tight. We have Michael Wilson from our Houston affiliate coming up next. Mary Walter on the way. This is the Todd Starnes Show.